Hey there, good morning. Welcome to Coffee with Connie. I'm Connie Fuksa with Foote Title Group, where we protect your home ownership and make sure that your home closing is smooth, simple, easy to understand, and is a fun process like buying the rest of the process of buying your home. So today, as I try to do a lot, I have a lot of different topics that I like to talk about because there's so much information that goes along with buying and selling a piece of property. But a lot of times I get questions from the audience. And so I like to talk about those things first because those are the things that seem to be on people's minds. So with that, I want you to reach out and ask questions. If you have questions or there's things you don't understand or things that came up that maybe you wanted some clarification on, let me know, because those are the things that others really want to hear and know too. So hopefully we can help you with good information. If you're on watching us live, please check in and say hi. If you're watching the replay, let me know that you watched the replay as well. That helps me a lot too. Hey there, Jeff. How are you? Good morning, Miss Kelly. How are you guys this morning? Thanks for tuning in. So yesterday I was doing a closing for someone, and the question about this whole, the costs that have to be paid to the county and state, where does that come from? Who makes the determination? Does the title company decide what credits or exemptions are available or not? And so I wanted to bring this up. Hey there, Cecilia. How are you this morning, lady? So I wanted to bring this up to clarify this because, first of all, in no way, shape, or form does the title company get to determine how those costs are disseminated and how what credits are allowed and what credits aren't. First of all, when a title company works on your paperwork, the recording costs that we calculate are given to us by the different jurisdictions. And so what I'm going to talk about today is kind of specific to Maryland, so I want to point that out in the beginning because this question was a Maryland question. But there's similarities in Virginia. I just think that the credits are not quite the same, but this particular one was specifically a Maryland question, so we'll talk about that. So the title company, along with the lender and reviewing the contract, tries to gather all of the pieces of information that are decided with that contract when you negotiated to buy or sell that home. So we review the contract and then we determine we try to understand from what we receive what the intention was when you guys sat down and wrote the contract. And if there's questions about that, we'll usually contact your realtor or your mortgage lender and just make sure that we understand what the intention was if it's not quite clear. When it comes to recording costs, the recording costs are established by the jurisdiction that the property is located in. In Maryland, every single jurisdiction has a different one of the costs is different in every single jurisdiction. And then there's another cost that goes to the state that's specific to the state that's the same across the board. In certain areas, there are additional recording costs that are called transfer taxes that are to the county, and those are specific to those particular jurisdictions as well, and there may be some credits applied there. So to break this down just a teeny bit and not to get deep into it, but let me explain just a couple of things. First of all, in Maryland, if the buyer is a first-time Maryland home buyer, there is a credit for the Maryland transfer tax. And the transfer tax is a tax that is paid to the state of Maryland that is calculated on the deed recording price or the sales price of the property that you're purchasing. So it's a tax, basically a sales tax that Maryland charges you on the sales price of the property. Now, if you're a first-time home buyer in the state of Maryland and you're going to be occupying the property, Maryland gives you a credit against that cost to reduce that cost to encourage people to buy in the state of Maryland with their first-time home buying. So to bring people into Maryland and to purchase, that's why it was originally developed, and to encourage home ownership in our state. Now, with that, and this question that came up yesterday, I really wanted to qualify, is if you're purchasing the property with someone else who either is not a first-time Maryland home buyer or is not going to occupy the property, they're just going on the home ownership to help you qualify, to be additional security for the lender, and so the lender requires they go on the property, or maybe it's a partnership with someone who is out of state. you're not allowed that first-time homebuyer credit because all of the parties are not occupying the property as their primary residence and first-time Maryland homebuyers. Those are the two caveats. So that Maryland transfer tax is that specific about that. All of the parties who are going on the ownership of the property must be first-time Maryland homebuyers and must be occupying the property as their primary residence. Then there is a recording cost that is called recordation taxes, and that is specific to each county. And the price for every different jurisdiction is different. Likewise in Virginia, there's different jurisdictions that have different pricing based on where the property is located. So those don't have credits to them. Those are specific to those particular areas, and the percentages is based on the sales price, but it depends on the jurisdiction as to what that number is, what that calculation is. Now, some counties, as I said earlier, have what's called a county transfer tax, and that's in addition to the recordation tax. And again, the easiest way to understand these is they're all sales tax, if you will, to those jurisdictions. And in certain counties, there's actually a county transfer tax, and in those counties, most likely, there is a credit for owner occupying those properties as well. If you're first-time buyers or occupying, the rules vary depending on the jurisdiction. So those things you want to check out. Those are some things that are on our website. There's a calculator, and on every page of the website, over on the right, there's a closing cost calculator that'll help you calculate exactly what those costs are, number one. Number two, we also have a book that has all the recording costs on our website. On the resources tab, whether you're looking at the seller's page, the buyer's page, the realtor's lender's page, there is a resource on there that is the recording costs in both states, in Maryland and Virginia, for all the counties. So it gives you the calculations for what those are. So if you're looking at something in a certain area and you want to know what that is, there's a resource there for you to be able to go and download. And finally, I wanted to say that, a comment was made yesterday to me that, well, does the title company decide whether the credit's given or not? And that's absolutely not true. What happens is the title company has to make sure that the documents that are signed at that closing can be recorded in the land records to secure the ownership and protect the ownership, and also to secure the new loan. And so we have to do our research and make sure that we understand all the nuances of the particular ownership to make sure that we're giving the proper credits and we're not giving the credits where they're not eligible. And the reason for that is because once everyone walks away from that table, we've got to get these documents recorded. And if we don't have all the proper pieces in place, we have to call you after closing, and it may cost more if we haven't collected the correct recording costs, if we've given a credit when it's really not valid. And so most companies will err on the side of caution to make sure we can get something recorded because of the way we understand the process going. And then if there is a credit, we'll be able to give that credit back. Now, if we know for sure and everybody signs off on a certification that the county and the state require, then absolutely, then we'll be able to do that. But for us to say that we actually determine whether or not you can get the credit is absolutely not true. It's actually the jurisdiction that determines and makes these rules. And if we know that someone's not going to be occupying that property, we cannot let you sign a document saying that you are, and do that illegally and try to get those documents recorded so you can get that credit. So some title companies may do things a little bit differently. That's how our company does it. If I know specifically that some of the owners are not going to be living there, we're not going to ask you to sign a document that isn't accurate to get something recorded to get that credit. So that's how the question came up to me yesterday, and I just wanted to clarify a little bit of that information. But as I said, it's a little bit confusing because all the jurisdictions are different, all the costs are different. There's a calculator on our website, and there's also that resource, which is a book you can download. If you're a realtor or lender, you might want to download it and you have it in your hands if you don't happen to be out. Also, just for that, along that same line, if you are out showing homes, you can actually download the calculator that we have as an app on your phone, so you can calculate it right while you're out on the fly, and that'll help you out a lot too if you're working up some closing costs for a customer and you're going to buy or sell that are buying or selling a house. And so you can get some numbers there that will help you calculate what those numbers are, because they're different in every jurisdiction and they change a lot. So Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hey, Chip, how are you? I'm glad to know that your house survived all of the craziness, and hopefully you guys don't get another storm. Hey, David, good morning. How are you? Thank you guys for taking the time to tune in. If you found what we talked about valuable, please click the share button, because the fact that somebody asked me a question means that other people have that question, and I would really appreciate it if you would share. There's lots of other really good resources on our website. Right now we have a new flyer that's a new feature on there that you can download, the 10 most frequently asked questions for first-time home buyers, which is a good little resource to download. If you're thinking about buying a home, you know somebody that is, you can download that right there. There's all kinds of other resources on our buyers and sellers page, closing cost calculators, sample closing documents. If you want to review documents before closing, there's some samples on there for you to look at. So go check out our website, www.foottetitlegroup.com. It's Foote. And thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate your time. I'm Connie Fuksa with Foote Title Group, where we protect your home ownership. Have an awesome day, everybody, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.